Tracking, alerting, protecting. This is WKYT News at 4.
Gorgeous weather across central and eastern Kentucky for now, but it's all eyes on Halloween and a blast of wintry weather. The very latest straight ahead.
A school bus carrying children is involved in a crash this afternoon. Police are searching for the driver of the car that hit the bus. And former UK star Julius Randle's NBA debut ends with him leaving the court on a stretcher. We'll have the latest on his injury. Welcome to WKYT News at 4. I'm Jennifer Palumbo. The warmer air we started the week with is gone, and much colder air is on the way. Right now, temperatures are around 60, but they may not get out of the 30s on Saturday. You're looking at our sky cam on campus at Morehead State University, where it's a sunny and dry afternoon. Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey has a first look at the forecast. Chris, it's a nice Wednesday.
It really is, Jennifer. A lot of folks really digging the dry and nice conditions out there, considering the ugly stuff we had yesterday. But again, everyone focusing on what is coming down the road over the next few days. So, moral of the story, enjoy the upper 50s to low 60s that are out there throughout the region as of now. Your sky cam showing those mostly sunny skies. Live First Alert Defender cleaning up right on cue this afternoon, though a little more in the way of some clouds. Going to try to filter back in here tonight, and certainly for the first part of our Thursday. That's a blast of some colder air. You want to see where the real cold air is? It is across parts of Canada right now. Why are we focusing on Canada, of all places? Well, that is a blast of winter weather that is getting ready to cross the border, and it is going to head straight toward the Commonwealth of Kentucky as we get into our Halloween and our Halloween weekend. Winter weather is on the way. We'll break down what that may mean for not only the trick-or-treat plans, Jennifer, but into the upcoming first few days of November as well. That's in a few minutes.
Thank you, Chris. After searching for several hours, crews in Lincoln County have pulled the body of a man out of Cedar Creek Lake. Fish and wildlife officials tell us an elderly man fell out of a canoe around 12:30 this afternoon. The Lincoln County Emergency Management Director says the man's body was pulled out around the dam. His name has not yet been released. We have a reporter on the scene, and we'll have more information coming up on WKYT News at 5. A body pulled from the Licking River has been identified as a missing Central Kentucky man. Last night, search crews found the body. This afternoon, the Harrison County coroner identified it as 32-year-old Clinton O'Brien. He'd been missing for a week. His car was found Monday night near Robinson Dam. Autopsy results on O'Brien's body are expected next week. A manhunt is underway in eastern Kentucky for a man accused of crashing his car into a school bus, then taking off. And the bus was loaded with children in Perry County. No one was hurt, and there wasn't much damage done to the bus. WKYT's Phil Pendleton has the latest from Clay County.
Police have centered their search for Gary Marvin Daniels here in Oneida much of the day, but this actually started this morning just before 8 o'clock in Perry County when police say that Daniels sideswiped a school bus and then didn't stop. He is expected to be here in Clay County because he has relatives here, and relatives actually say that he was not far from here. Police say they do believe his actions make him dangerous.
His actions are dangerous in the sense of his driving. Like I said, we've been in pursuit of him a couple of times over here in the last week. Perry County's also been in pursuit of him. His disregard for human life in an automobile. Now,
Daniels is said to be about 200 pounds, 6 feet tall, with sandy brown hair. Police say they do believe that his actions make him dangerous. They say that he has been found with weapons before. They're not sure if he has weapons now. Much more of this coming up at 5 o'clock. But for now, in Clay County, Phil Pendleton, WKYT.
And police say if anyone sees Daniel, do not approach him. Just call 911. Tough news for former UK star Julius Randle. The LA Lakers rookie broke his leg last night in his NBA debut. The 19-year-old Randle went down during the fourth quarter of last night's 108-90 loss to the Houston Rockets. Team doctors say Randle has a broken tibia. ESPN reports Randle had surgery today and is expected to miss 4 to 6 weeks. Julius Randle was the 7th overall pick of the NBA draft. We're working on a number of other stories for WKYT starting at 4:30. Amber Philpott is in the newsroom with a look at some of the news in progress. Good afternoon, Amber.
Good afternoon to you, Jennifer. Berea police have arrested and charged a man with a shooting. It happened around 10:45 last night at a home on South Dogwood Drive. Our news crew was on the scene as deputies investigated. Deputies say that 67-year-old John Durham shot Daryl Pigg multiple times. Pigg was taken to UK hospital. There's no word yet on his condition. Durham was charged with assault. Coming up on WKYT News at 4:30, you'll hear from the Madison County Sheriff's Office. We are learning more today about the investigation into the death of a firefighter who died while taking part in an ice bucket challenge. The Public Service Commission says, or has released its findings into the investigation. Tony Greider died last month. He and fellow firefighter Alex Quinn were helping the Campbellsville University band complete the challenge when they got too close to nearby power lines. Quinn stayed in the hospital for days but was finally able to come home. We'll have an update on the findings from the commission on WKYT News at 5. And we have been telling you this week about problems in getting this year's flu shot vaccine. If you haven't received a flu shot yet, it might take a while longer to get one. Some key shipments of the vaccine have been delayed, forcing healthcare providers nationwide to put vaccinations on hold. National manufacturers of the flu vaccine are experiencing delays in production this season. Coming up on WKYT News at 6, you're going to hear from a Lexington pediatrician about the impact the shortage is having on their office. That is a look at just some of the news that's in progress. Jennifer, back to you.
Thanks, Amber. Now to stories making headlines across the nation at 4. New developments out of Washington this afternoon in the battle against Ebola. The Defense Department is moving forward with mandatory quarantines for all troops serving in West Africa. As Polo Sandoval reports, the new rules are different from guidelines used for volunteer healthcare workers.
Military officials are headed to the drawing board. They're tasked with coming up with a quarantine strategy for U.S. troops coming home from West Africa, the men and women on the front lines of the Ebola battle.
The fact is, the military will have more Americans in Liberia than any other department.
The White House maintains, unlike U.S. troops, volunteers should not be quarantined upon their return home. President Obama explains that discrepancy by saying he sent the service members to the region. Healthcare workers often go as volunteers. 1,000 U.S. troops are already on the ground, a number that could grow to 4,000. All of them would be subjected to the 21-day quarantine.
This is also a policy that was discussed in great detail by the communities, by the families of our military men and women, and they very much wanted a safety valve on this.
The troop isolation wouldn't be the first. Army Major General Daryl Williams and 10 other soldiers are in the middle of a 21-day quarantine in Italy. Williams and his men can only contact family online for now. They say it's worth it as the fight against the silent enemy rages on. Reporting in Washington, I'm Polo Sandoval.
Crews are searching today for debris from the rocket that exploded on liftoff last night on the Virginia coast. The rocket was supposed to go on a supply mission to the International Space Station. It carried more than 2 tons of experiments and equipment. Officials at Orbital Sciences, the company that was launching the rocket, hope any pieces found will help pinpoint the cause of the explosion. Nobody was hurt. The federal government says millions of cell phone customers didn't get what they paid for. Why it's suing AT&T. And a traditional form of peer-to-peer lending is helping people in some states meet their financial goals and build credit at the same time. See how next on WKYT News at 4.
Follow WKYT online at WKYT.com. Join the conversation on Twitter and become a part of the WKYT Facebook family.
A down day for stocks. One day after closing above 17,000, the Dow dropped 31 points to end the day at 16,974. The Nasdaq fell 15 and the S&P 3. The FTC says AT&T misled millions of smartphone customers by selling them unlimited data plans, but then slowing down data speeds, in some cases by nearly 90%. Now the government is suing and wants the company to refund customers. AT&T calls the charge baseless. Halloween has been sweet for Hershey. The candy maker says sales climbed in the past few months, especially in the U.S. But Hershey's profits fell slightly as costs have climbed, especially for raw ingredients such as cocoa. Earlier this year, Hershey raised prices on some candy by about 8%. When it comes to buying a house or car, most Americans go to a bank for a loan. But what if you could just turn to your neighbor? Julie Watts explains.
Shweta Kohli is proud of her car and how she got it.
I had the cash with me with not going to a bank, not using a credit card.
She got that cash from a no-interest loan through something called a lending circle. Here's how it works. 12 people each chip in a set amount each month. In Shweta's case, it was $100. Then each month, one member of the circle gets the whole pot at no interest.
It was definitely a familiar idea to me.
Lending circles are a centuries-old tradition in Shweta's homeland of India and other countries that remain popular in many immigrant communities today.
It was crowdsourcing before crowdsourcing. It was peer-to-peer before peer-to-peer.
But Jose Quinones, director of the Mission Asset Fund, says they're bringing the age-old idea of lending circles into a new era.
We're taking that practice and essentially just formalizing by having them sign a promissory note so that way we can then track it.
And unlike the old school informal loans, Mission Asset Fund reports their lending circle transactions to credit bureaus, enabling participants to build a credit score.
We are actually helping people build their financial stability.
California recently became the first state in the nation to make it legal for nonprofits to offer small, no-interest, no-fee loans. And they're paying off for people like Shweta, whose credit score soared from non-existent to the high 700s. Julie Watts for CBS News, San Francisco.
The default rate among lending circle participants is less than 1%. That's far lower than the default rate on loans issued by banks.
Good afternoon, guys. We are here at the Kentucky Music Hall of Fame. Big day today, the announcement of the 2015 inductees. We have Chad and David halfway to Hazard. Pretty cool day for you two.
Yeah, we're just happy to be inducted in the
don't. Not this year again. They left us out. I don't know.
You got the next best thing, right? You were here to announce the inductees.
Amazing class this year for 2015. Montgomery Gentry, great friends of ours.
Clarence Spalding.
Yeah, Larry Cordell, the Moon Glows.
We have some Backstreet Boys here.
Yeah, like Kevin and Brian, those guys.
They've had a little career.
Right, just a little one.
The amount of talent in the state of Kentucky is just, you know, I know some other states are having some runs right now, but we have the lineage and the history of, you know, just the bluegrass music and Christian music and obviously country music and also pop music and stuff. And we, you know, Kentucky musicians and songwriters are everywhere. I mean, David and I have been touring the world over the last 10 years as Halfway to Hazard, and we run across people all the time that have Kentucky ties.
Exactly.
And Kentucky is known for horses and music, and you know, it's amazing. We're just so proud to be here today.
Well, and I loved you guys talking about the Kentucky Music Hall of Fame because this is a beautiful place that really just highlights what all Kentucky music does have to offer. Talk a bit about that. And one day I would say you probably want to be on that list.
We would be very honored. I mean, we work with the Kentucky Music Hall of Fame quite a bit. We do a lot of stuff. They supported us. We try to support them as best we can. Yeah. And I think people should come by and see the musical heritage. Mm-hmm. And that's a great way to remember it. I mean, it's easy, out of sight, out of mind, but you come here and you see Exile. You see the Kentucky Headhunters. You see Jerry Chestnut.
I mean, Crystal Gale, Dwight Yoakam, Steve Warner. I mean, Patty Loveless. I mean, the list just goes on and on and on, and people forget that Kentucky is such a huge presence in all music.
I forget the people that are from Kentucky. I mean, you know, Steve Warner, one of the greatest guitar players, singer-songwriters of all time, in my eyes. And sometimes I forget that they're from Kentucky, you know?
Yeah.
Well, so much talent, including you guys. Loved hearing you all perform today, too. Yeah, that too. Keep talking. No, sorry. Anyway, so the Kentucky Music Hall of Fame. Oh, I'm sorry. We're not done. The Kentucky Music Hall of Fame induction ceremony is not until April 10th. You can start getting your tickets. Check out their website for more info. Coming up at 4:50, we're going to talk to one of those inductees. Stay tuned for that. I'm Deanne Stevens with Halfway to Hazard. Love these guys. Back to you guys.
It's time for Better Living, health, education, and consumer news that impacts your life. First, it was self-driving cars. Now, the Google X Lab is working on a pill that can detect cancer and other diseases. A wearable device would release tiny particles into the body. Those particles travel through the bloodstream and search for abnormal cells. The device then calls the nanoparticles back for analysis. People with chronic fatigue syndrome may have a specific brain abnormality. A study from Stanford University used 3 different MRI techniques to compare the brains of healthy people to those with chronic fatigue. They found chronic fatigue patients had less white matter in their brains. Researchers hope their findings lead to new ways to diagnose and treat the condition. Updated guidelines from the American Heart Association and American Stroke Association recommend a diet high in fruit, whole grains, and nuts to lower the risk of first-time stroke. They also recommend lifestyle changes such as controlling blood pressure, quitting smoking, and cutting back on salt. Going to the movies is getting more relaxing. Regal Cinemas says its luxury reclining seats have been so successful, they're adding them to at least 300 more screens next year. The movie theater chain also says it plans to expand alcohol sales. Fast food could get even faster. Taco Bell is unveiling an app that allows people to order and pay on their smartphones, then walk or drive in and pick up their food. The fast food chain says the free app gives customers complete access to every Taco Bell menu item to create what they want, when they want, all in the palm of their hand.